Vote to change the society. It's your voice.
You're welcome. How was your week? Mine was okay. Mine was very, very okay. I hope you had a great week too. I'm Wale Ogwande, your host on this program. With me is,
Yes, it was Blossom, of course.
yeah, so Rose Blossom. How was your week?
It was amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, this week is going to be an interesting week. What we have is a potpourri of a very, very important topic. But before we go there, I want us to please just celebrate even the death of the Queen of the world. I call her the Queen of the world. Very amiable, very, very, very passionate, above all, very respectful. She did not carry that queenship around. Well, on voters forum here, we pray that God will grant her eternal rest, and that we that are still around, we too just have to live along. You're welcome to this program.
All right, so yes, and of course, I'll say again, you're welcome. My name is Rose Blossom, and it's going to be an amazing one today. We'll be talking about a whole lot of things, and you definitely want to stay glued because it's going to be quite interesting. And do not forget, you can actually be part of this show because how do you get part of it? You can send messages to a number that will be displayed on the screen TV, and of course we are streaming live on all our social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter, and it's at Galaxy TV. So you're welcome to be part of the show. Let's quickly go on a short break, and we'll be right back. Of course, we have a guest in the house, and Barrister will be introducing him, but let's go on a short break. We'll be right back. As the clock ticks and the waves of 2023 elections caught from afar, we readily read the minds of the 2023 contestant. Nigeria has been afflicted.
The task of governing a vast and somewhat complex country like Nigeria is quite demanding. As such, the arms of government over the years have evolved to suit the country's rather peculiar form of democracy, which is a model copied from the United States of America, according to analysts and observers. These arms of government, the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary, all work together to achieve what is termed the dividends of democracy. The legislature. The legislature is the lawmaking body of the government. Voting of money, budget approval, and performing oversight functions falls within its duties. Nigeria operates a bicameral legislature. This means there are two parts, the Senate and the House of Representatives. There are 109 senators representing the senatorial districts and 360 members representing all federal constituencies. The Senate is headed by the Senate President, while the House of Representatives is headed by the Speaker. These lawmakers find their way to the National Assembly after being elected by their people to serve a 4-year tenure as their representatives. The Executive. This seems like the most visible arm in Nigeria's governance structure because it is the one that performs the task of administering the country. Nigeria operates a presidential system of government, so this particular organ is headed by the president, who appoints ministers to assist him in the task of governance. The primary function of the executive is to implement government policies and programs as well as enforce public laws. The president is elected into office to serve for 4 years. The judiciary. The judiciary is the arm of government responsible for interpreting the law made by the legislature and prescribes the punishment for those who break the law. They serve as the custodian of the Constitution and safeguard the rights and liberties of the citizens. The judiciary is organized in a hierarchy comprising the Magistrate Court, High Court, the Appeal Court, and the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice of Nigeria is the head of the judiciary. Godfrey Shemage for Galaxy News.
Now is the time to be called out by the people you promise to serve. Are you a leader that is responsible, selfless, and dynamic to turn around the misfortunes of the nation, Nigeria? Why don't you sell your manifestos to the people on Scorecard? Galaxy TV is offering you an opportunity to speak directly to the people on your plans to make life better for Nigerians. Scorecard provides you the time and a chance of a lifetime to be the man and serve. Scorecard, towards a better Nigeria.
You're welcome back. The topic is what you've just heard. The arms of government, 3 arms of government. You've been hearing government, 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 government. But do you know the nitty-gritty about it? Do you know what it takes for the government to be formed? And do you know what government's work and functions are, particularly those who occupy these offices? That is why we have taken this topic today, and we have brought someone who will give and shed light onto this matter. And no other person than Matthias Emeribe. He is a lawyer of long-standing repute who knows his onion very well, not only in the courtroom, but even on the street. We've been together doing some street wahala. But I won't talk again too much. He will, by the time, you know, they say the taste of the pudding is in the eating. So I'm sure by the time he finishes, you know that indeed he's someone. He's going to tell us and educate us more on the functions of the 3 arms of government, how they interact and interrelate. Matthias, you are welcome to this program.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good afternoon, viewers.
Yes.
And I hope we are having a lovely day, because this is a highly interesting and educative program. And I believe that perhaps at the end of the day, we'll have enough to rejoice and talk about concerning our country. And most importantly, is the fact that the program is an enlightenment program made purposely to educate the public on their do's and the don'ts concerning how they should come into governance. Unfortunately, what we have had over time is that when we hear government, we tend to believe that we are dealing with people who are spirits living up, while the rest are down. And to that extent, we tend to be aloof concerning how the affairs of our nation is governed.
Yes.
I want to believe that perhaps by the end of this program, we will be informed and educated as to what we should know and how we will contribute to make it a success.
Yes. No.
But once again, I've said it, that this is an enlightening program, very educative, and of course I want to thank the management of Galaxy for this very beautiful program they have introduced.
Thank you so much.
It will be very, very important to say it, because I know that very many people, especially those who do not have the opportunity of actually peeping into fully what government does, this would give an opportunity.
So let's go cracking. Let's go cracking.
Very well.
How do you form government? What is it? What brought about this idea of these 3 arms of government? Through where? Where's the origin?
Now, let me simply say, because you know, it is a product of what we may call research, in the sense that when we go back into the Greek time, so to say, in historical times,
Okay.
Yes.
you know, government is run by purely a monarch,
Yes.
so to say, who of course is the lawmaker, or better still, the lawgiver, is the one that executes the law, is the one that equally interprets the law. So is simply in one person, and therefore giving room for what you may call tyranny. That's where the concept of tyranny came about.
Okay.
Now, for purposes of trying to do what? To make sure that the masses of the people are involved, there was need for this position for them to come up with a position wherein there is need not to vest the entire power or the apparatus of the state into just one particular person, because somebody will tell you that absolute power corrupts, and power corrupts absolutely, and of course the import of that is that by the time you are vested with an uncontrollable power, the tendency is for you to go awu. So consequently, bringing it home to our Nigerian concept, the Constitution of 1979, basically, because the 63 Constitution, which is a Republican constitution in nature, was more or less vested the executive and the legislative power in just one arm. And of course, the judiciary was still there anyway, so meaning that you have just barely two under the Republican Constitution. But with the present Constitution we have, which commenced from 1979, there was a creation of three arms: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, which was borrowed from America. Okay. Because having seen how the American independence worked, we, Nigeria, we felt that if we have failed in the First Republic, there is need for us to look elsewhere and see what will match or carry on, particularly with respect to the fact that we have a heterogeneous society, particularly with multifaceted, you know, tribe, ethnic group, religious, and therefore you are looking for a system that will work for all. So to that extent, having taken from the Americans, there was need for us to say, okay, this is the kind of system we think that will work best for us. So by 1979, like I said, that was when the Constitution brought in these three separate arms of government. And of course, the 1999 Constitution has followed what? Suit. That's why you have the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature.
So, do they have, can you just quickly tell us before we go for another break, their functions? What does the legislature does, the executive, and the judiciary?
Yes. Now, by the virtue of Section 4, 5, and 6 of the 1999 Constitution, Section 4 deals with the legislature, whose primary goal and ultimate goal is lawmaking, and equally to do what? Oversee that area where they make law. That's what you call the oversight function. For the executive, which is Section 5 of the Constitution, theirs is nothing but administrative, which is to execute the law made by the legislature. While Section 6, which is the judiciary, theirs is to interpret the law made by the legislature. So they are the ones that are vested with power to interpret. Now, they are separate, but their actions or inactions, whichever way you want to interpret it, are coexisting. In other words, they are made for purposes of governance, that one purpose. While they are independent, they are not exclusively independent, they work together.
Yes, quickly.
Yeah.
Some few seconds ago, you said that people look at government as if they are occupied by ghosts. Yes. You have explained now, are these people, these offices, are they occupied by ghosts or by people?
No.
And how did they get there?
Now, these are people who are product of the society.
Good.
The people that occupy each of these arms of government are product of our society. And therefore, what you find them doing is a replica of what the followers appear to say they like.
Okay.
It's unfortunate that sometimes we tend to see that when most of them are acting, we tend to do what? Alienate ourselves from them as if they are not part and part of that society. And that is why whatever policy that they came up with, whether we like it or not, we will be bound by what they have done. And that is the only way we can, it's only when we on ourselves have a redress. In other words, we ask ourselves a fundamental question. Is this the society we want for ourselves and our children? Not until we answer that question will we be able to do what? Do the right thing, and to know that, no, these people, we only sent them. If they are not doing well, what happens? Either two things. It's either we are recalling them back, or on the next election, do what? Put them out and bring those that will do what? Do our bidding. Unfortunately, the only arm that is not involved in election is the judiciary. It's just that there is a system they have which they use in purging themselves of those who are what you may call the bad eggs within that system.
Before purging, how did they get? How did these
How do they get
people
into the position
of the in the judicial system?
Now, that's why I said, naturally, going by what we have, now let me go by the Constitution itself. Now, the Constitution itself recognizes the following, recognizes the judiciary. Now, having recognized that, what it does is that in terms of those who will occupy that seat, they must be qualified first.
Okay.
In other words, some of them, before you are made to be a judge, by extension, you must be a qualified lawyer. So in other words, the tendency is that you must have been tutored in the law program to know what our laws are. For you now to rise or go up to become a judicial body, officer. Now, to that extent, for instance, in the High Court, taking the High Court, for instance, the appointment is normally done by what? The state government, as it were. There, the recommendation of the NJC, National Judicial Council. They recommend who should come in, then the appointment is made by and then confirmation by the state governor, particularly with respect to the CJs and others. It's in the Supreme Court or the Supreme Court justices. That's where you have all three arms getting involved in the appointment of them, so to speak. In other words, if you want to, if you are coming in, or they make you a CJN, Chief Justice of Nigeria, you cannot become that, just like the current Chief Justice of Nigeria is. That's why it's in an acting capacity. Not until a confirmation is made by the Senate would he now be sworn in fully as the Chief Justice of Nigeria. Sorry. Meaning that the head of that very institution must be somebody, even though he wasn't elected, but it must be somebody that those who were elected must agree that this is the person we want. So in other words, by implication, indirectly, there's an involvement of the masses, because if you elected people, the presumption is that you have your trust that these people can do it for me. The same people that were elected will not be the one that will not say, I confirm this person to be our chief justice because we believe that he can do what will be in the interest of the masses.
Okay, so I want to ask the question, is there a duration, is there an experience that is needed for them to actually even be selected? Is it just being a lawyer, you're professional?
No, that's why I said now, in the concept of appointing judicial officers, if you take the issue, that's why I said first, qualification, you must first be qualified to be a lawyer. That's number one. Then number two is that there are what you call an advert put up by NGC for what you may call expression of interest for those who are interested to become judges. Okay. Now, in recent time, for instance, in the Supreme Court, there was this advert that was put up for those who are interested to become justices of the Supreme Court to apply. And many SAN, many what you may call senior lawyers and so on and so forth applied, including judges. You know? Though what you normally will have is that NJC, in scrutinizing judges probably from the Court of Appeal, they will know the ones that feel they think that feel and then make a recommendation. Yes, make a recommendation for them to be elevated to the apex body, which is the Supreme Court. Now, in the same vein, when you want to bring in people to the High Court, you may be like, if you come to the High Court, like in Lagos State, for instance, you have some who are from the Magistrate Court cadre, those ones who have been practicing judicial actions, as it were. Then you have lawyers too, who, of course, probably by virtue of the appearance that most of the judges who see them have done, they may say, we recommend you to bring so and so people to come to the bench. So it's not as if, but like I said, ultimately you must be what? A qualified lawyer who knows the law before all of these things. So there are many things.
Ask the question, do they have a term?
A term that
the
you have to have the experience for 6 years or 8 years or 12
before you
years
become a judge.
Now for the High Court, for instance, for you to be, initially it used to be about 10 years. I think of recent they have reduced it, but one thing is that if you are not if you have not been in practice for about 10 years, you cannot be made a judge. So, like I said, there's none that doesn't have his own qualification for
But
you
does
to
it
come
work
in.
here? Let's assume, let's assume someone graduates at the age of, say, 23 or 24, and you have an experience of 10 years, that's to like 34, 35.
Yes.
Would they actually pick this person to be a chief judge? I'm talking about a judge, rather.
Judge.
Yeah, a judge. Would the person be able
the concept, okay, now, for a judge, for you to, whether you are 35, it doesn't matter. What matters is that
Yes.
you have been in practice.
Okay.
And you have the necessary experience.
Okay.
Now, like I said, it's not enough. That is why they normally go for an interview. Because you must be able to know that this person has the wherewithal to actually administer justice.
Because it's powerful.
You understand? So if you do not have the wherewithal, you must have had, that's why some people, they might even stay there 20 years, nobody will look at their this, notwithstanding the application. The reason is because after going through the test, they did not meet the minimum requirement for them to be there. Because for you to be a judge, it takes a lot. Because you cannot be a judge if you allow your emotion to take more of your reasoning. You know, in being a judge, what it does is for you to detach yourself from the society. In other words, the emotions of the society must first of all be taken off, and you allow your reason to prevail. And it's in that way that you can do justice to the society. In the absence of it, nobody will make you a judge.
Okay.
Is there, because of time, is there an interrelationship between these three arms of government in their duty, in their workings, practically? Is there any interaction?
Yes.
Or friction?
Yes.
Quickly, within 3 minutes, please.
Yes. You know, just like what we said before, you have the legislature as the first arm of government.
Yes.
The executive the second, and the judiciary the third. Now, ultimately, when the legislature makes law, the law is for the good governance of the country.
Yes.
Now, laws cannot act by itself.
Yes.
Somebody must execute the law.
Good.
And who are the people vested with the power to execute the law? The executive.
Yes.
Now, they are the ones that will not see this law and say, this is how it should apply. Okay. Now, it's in the process of application that there could be different form of interpretation given to that very law that is being applied. And now, when people are not satisfied, it's on that basis that will say, no, I don't think the intendment of this law that was made by the lawmaker is for you to act this way.
Okay.
No, to that extent, please let us go before the court, who is vested with the power to say, okay, please can you tell us what is the intendment, what is intended by virtue of this law that was made? And it's to that extent that you now have the judiciary coming to now say, this is the position. And the judiciary will only interpret in line with the point that it must fall in line with the policy of government. In other words, it must be interpreted in a way that will be, you can't say maybe because if you go to Cameroon, they have a special, no. We have our own society, we have our goal, we know what we are pursuing. So if that law is to be interpreted, it will be interpreted in line with that particular goal. So you cannot say because in Cameroon they interpret it this way, it can only be persuasive to that extent, and that is where it ends.
Okay. All right, well, our time is almost up. Let's go on a short break first before we come back. We have a lot of questions definitely for you. And yes, thank you guys for staying tuned. I hope you are enjoying and you're learning. I'm also learning because at a point I didn't know about how they actually work together, legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. But thanks to Barrister Matthias, he has actually explained all of that. You can get more of this. Of course, we're streaming online on all social media platforms at Galaxy TV, where you can be part of it. And do not forget, you can also be part of the show by telling us what is in your mind. Please also indicate your name and where you're sending the message from. And please do not call the line. You can only send messages to the line. So let's quickly go on a short break, and we'll be right back to continue what we're discussing. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again. We are still on Voters Forum. And yes, do not forget, there's a number displayed on the screen and below your screen TV where you can send messages to, of course, and like I said, indicate where you're sending a message from, and of course, your name. Let's put a name to the idea and the question. Barrister, I don't know if you have anything to say, because we have a second topic we're supposed to go into. So very
Yes,
quickly,
yes, we want to really appreciate our brother and friend for coming to this program, and we want to thank you for your time. You can be sure that we're going to call you again.
Definitely.
You can be sure. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for coming. It's been an amazing one with you. And of course, yes, on to the next topic. But before we have a next topic, we have another guest that will be in the studio with us discussing the next topic, which is selfless leadership. That one is very engaging, and I'm very sure you will enjoy this next guest. So let's take it away before we bring in our next guest. Stay with us. As the clock ticks and the wheels of 2023 elections caught from afar, we readily read the minds of the 2023 contestant. Nigeria has been afflicted by or with the misfortune of having characters in governance who are neither selfless nor visionary, who are rather essentially greedy for power or money. Clueless, reckless, and therefore perpetrators and consolidators of the poor and bad democratic governance. Nigerian leaders make rules that favor their families, themselves, and cronies, rules they make and break at will. Every sector they head lack good leadership. It is also in Nigeria one sees a pension board smile and wave gaily at the crowds on its way to jail, while pensioners whine and wail. Without recourse to statistic, just few Nigerian leaders have all it takes to fix the country. There is a correlation between selfless leadership and good governance, especially good democratic governance in Nigeria. Great leaders are actuated positively by the love of their countries. Quality leaders bring growth, not retardation, to their country. Quality education and healthcare delivery, not sickness and brain drain. Selfless leaders are the epitome of service to the people, deserving of the recognition and title of servant leaders. They devote themselves to effective and efficient service delivery to the citizens, driving satisfaction from positive outcomes and value addition, and not from personal material reward or gain. Nigerians require selfless plus visionary, forthright, patriotic, and people-oriented leadership with focused policies and vigorously executed programs and projects in accord with a carefully articulated vision of what the future represents. Learned men and women of integrity whose presence in politics will reposition the Nigerian voting system abound in the country, and they are the quality selfless leaders we Nigerians look forward to for public offices in 2023. We require people in leadership position who are not merely selfless, but also visionary, patriotic, and people-oriented, who have the capacity, the competence, and ability to appreciate and manage the complexity of our diversity on the basis of equity, equality of opportunity, fair play, and the rule of law.
Politics is too serious a matter to be left to the politicians. The time has come to make a choice, and let's take a stand, because the future of Nigeria lies in your hands. Enough of politics with bitterness. Say no to rascals in governance. End corruption with your vote. Pick up your voter's card and choose the right leader and secure your future.
You're welcome back. I'm still Wale Ogmade, your host on this program, and with me is my co-host,
Rose Blossom, you're welcome to the show.
yes, and of course, our guest is seated with us. He's no other than Comrade Amoro.
Thank you. Good morning.
Wellifa Amoro. Great man. We two, again, equally, we have been in the trenches together. Seeing him, you know that he's not a young man. He's somebody who has been up there, who has been. In fact, as I said up there, the system just took him up. Anyway, before he starts talking, I have a small announcement for us, and that's Voters Awareness Initiative is setting up a project called Voters Vanguard. We want to see how we can move towards the election without any stress, fighting without any fight, without any trouble whatsoever. And Voters Vanguard, we want to do we want to start a membership drive as we approach the 2023 general election. There is need to organize ourselves and stop agonizing. We have been taken for a ride by the political class, and we are not grouping to organize a revolt, but to educate ourselves and ensure that political leaders deliver on their campaign promises, as well as manage the economy and the country very well and for a better future for our children. The benefits to be derived as a member of these groups are enormous, which includes opportunity to be part of those to interact with candidates in our various constituencies, training through conferences, seminars, and workshops in respect of democracy and good governance, then travel opportunities all over the world to attend and be involved in democratic activities for the betterment of humanity in general. For more information, visit votersawareness.org.ng, Voters Vanguard, for more information. I repeat again, votersawareness.org.ng / Voters Vanguard for more information. That's it on the screen for you. Just visit it, and of course we are good to go. But you will see that's our membership drive. Our membership form is there, and of course we go on. We'll all over the country, all over the world, wherever you are, you just join. We'll work it out that we'll be involved. Nigeria is our country, and it's going to be better with your involvement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me quickly say this. We're already getting messages, but we're not reading them right now. So, of course, there's a number displayed on the screen where you can send your messages to be part of the show. Please do not call the number.
No calls.
Just send
no calls.
No calls.
No
Just
calls,
send in
please.
messages, and we'll read them with your name and, of course, your location included. Do not forget.
Yes, that's it on the screen.
Yes, right now is on the screen. So
Please.
You can just send a message to that number and tell us what's your view about all the topics we're discussing, and even the one we'll be discussing right now. Okay.
Comrade.
Thank you.
You are welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Formally, I welcome you.
Thank you.
It's quite some time.
Yes.
So, today we are looking at selfless leadership.
Well, leadership takes responsibility for actions.
Yes.
It shows the way. As a matter of fact, it shows the light. If you have a leader that shows the bright light, the people will see the way clearly and do what is required of them. But if the leadership shows a dim light, they will drop. The light that our leaders show today is not so bright. That's why we have all the problems we have, because we can't see our way. Of course, you know that without lights, you cannot do much. Really, today, we don't even have physical lights. Once it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, at the most 8 o'clock, Nigeria goes to sleep. That's because we don't have physical light, and we don't even have spiritual light.
Sorry to cut you short, just to report you. Is it not the people that have caused this type of leadership that we have?
Yes. Well, the last person you were interviewing said the leadership comes from the people. Agreed.
Yes. You agree with him?
Agreed, but there's a problem. There's a but there.
Huh.
That's why you need visionary persons to be in charge of leadership.
True.
Visionary persons mean people who are wise, who are imaginative, who can plan into the future. So you just don't pick anybody. Do we really have visionary leaders today? If we have visionary leaders, why do we have so many problems? Today we are producing almost nothing. A few years back, or 1 or 2 decades back, we produced almost everything. I'll give you an example. In the 60s, we had a tire manufacturing company, an indigenous tire manufacturing company called Odutola Tires.
Odutola Tires?
In Nigeria.
Yes.
Wow.
Odutola never went to university. He had four years of high school.
Wow.
But he produced tire.
Yes.
He was a top manager in Nigeria. Today, how many cars were in Nigeria then? Very few cars. Today we have millions upon millions of cars. We do not have even a foreign manufacturing company in this country manufacturing tires. Because even those who came could not have the required amenities, especially electricity, to continue their work. They closed up, Dunlop closed up, Michelin closed up. They were all in Lagos, Port Harcourt, they closed up and they left. They left to a neighboring country. So you need visionary leaders. Right now, there are new, they talked about CCC, that you have to be competent, you have to have character, and you have to have capacity. It's beyond that.
Again, comrade, in the corporate world, we know that they call it headhunting, looking for competent hands. To us in Nigeria, the opportunity is presenting itself in the next general election for us to do a good headhunting. Let's assume you are one of those who can sit down on a table or around a table to say this and this and this and this and this are what you need, so that we can choose. Without mentioning names, sir, can you just say these are the qualifications of somebody you're looking at with your opening statement that will show the light?
I just mentioned a visionary leader.
Yes.
So the person must have vision.
No name, sir.
No name. You must see beyond today. You must plan not for today. You must plan for the future.
Yes.
And you must have your blueprint on how those plans are to be implemented.
Actualized.
You must be patriotic. You cannot be a leader and every 5 minutes you are out of the country.
Yes.
You must eat Nigeria. You must sleep Nigeria. You must dream Nigeria. You must do everything that promotes Nigeria.
Thank you, sir.
I feel surprised when I see our leaders always in suit.
I hope you're not referring to me, sir. My work entails me putting on suit.
I'm not talking about you. But you find out that our leaders, even when they travel overseas, some of them will wear our clothes here. When they go overseas, they try to put on suit. But the white man comes here and he still puts on his suit, even in a hot climate. Environment. Because that's what he's used to. But we want to always copy them. We want to feel like them. We get there. Our three-piece suit, we have three-piece suit.
Yes.
But you put on one small one, you put on one big one.
Yes. Yes.
Our leaders must dress Nigerian and African.
Think Nigeria.
Today, it is the fad for you to put on T-shirt. Even elderly people put on. I was in my village once, and we had an occasion. I put on a long robe, and a village person told me, why was I dressed like that? Why was I putting on a long robe? And do you know what he was putting on? What? A T-shirt. And I said, but you are dressed like an American. He said, that's normal. So in Nigeria today, Africa, in some parts of the country, in some areas, even when you dress African, it's not normal. But when you dress European, you dress American, it's normal.
Yes.
We must remove that psychology from our system. We must be patriotic. Now, even the food we eat, you find out we are more interested in imported food.
Canned food, actually, too.
That's it. That's why you hear there's war in Ukraine, and people are saying food is expensive.
Yes.
What's your business with food?
The war in Ukraine.
The war in Ukraine,
yes,
affecting our food here. Don't we have food? Fruits are imported into this country. There was a time water used to be imported into this country. How can people import water into our country? And now we are short of foreign exchange because we have frittered away all our foreign exchange in buying the things we are not supposed to buy.
Can we attach this your statements to the issue of selfless leadership?
Yes,
because I'm going somewhere, sir. Ghana, I'm sure you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
About 30 years ago, Ghanaians were in Nigeria, in droves. They were hewers of food and drawers of water.
Yes.
To the extent that when they were going, it brought about this popular Ghana must go back. Right. But today, the irony is that Nigerians now go to Ghana too, in droves.
Because they discover themselves.
They discover themselves, and they had somebody who was a selfless leader. How can we get it here in Nigeria, sir?
We can get it by us looking straight into the eyes of our leaders. Now, today we have about 18 political parties, but only 4 are showing up. And we seem to agree to that. And we are relegating to the background the other 14.
Yes.
We must look beyond the 4, because the 4 that are so prominent today have the money, especially money. If we emphasize money in our
politics,
recruitment policy of our leaders, we are not going to get it right. Money is important, but money is not all of it. I just talked about vision. I talked about patriotism. Yes, competence. You have to show competence. You have to show character. You have to show capacity. Beyond that, you have to be humane. You get it? But you have to be stern. You have to know what you want to do for the people. And you have to envision more, project into the future, and bring that projection into being by creative imagination. A leader that is not creative, for example, today, what do we produce? The world is still using coal to produce electricity. We have coal mines in Enugu. They are locked up. That's my son. I went with him to Enugu sometime to photograph the coal corporation. They still have gate men. People still come in. They are still budgeting for coal. A coal corporation is in Nigeria. A tin corporation is in Nigeria, but they're not producing. Why? Because of lack of vision. So the first very, very important thing we must look for is somebody that has vision. Because if you have vision, it's not just seeing.
Yeah?
You see beyond today, you see into the future, you project, you imagine, and you must be wise.
Okay, I would like to ask this now. A lot of, there's this word of selfless leadership attaching to being a servant leadership. I want you to help us to expatiate on that word servant leadership, because a lot of our leaders don't understand what that servant leadership, they believe leadership is just leadership.
Bossy.
You know, being bossy. This is what I want you to do, and that is what you should do. But forgetting that they're actually supposed to serve us, which is actually titled the servant leadership. Can you help us just break it down?
Today, the leader of the world, especially the Christian world, is Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ said, you must serve to lead. If you cannot serve, if you cannot humble yourself to show example, then you can't be a good leader.
True.
A leader should not be the one that takes the best, or takes the most, or eats the best food, or lives in the best house. A leader is somebody who puts himself in the position of his people. Today, what do our leaders do? We hear some people earn up to 30 million a month.
A month.
While they find it difficult to pay 30,000 a month. That's not selfless leadership. Because you do not put yourself in the position of the people. Today, even we talked about the judiciary. Recently, a law was made that the Chief Justice should be paid 10 million naira a month. Are they making laws to pay workers such money? ASU has been on strike. People are asking for less than $1 million. They say they earn 400,000.
Even recently, we had a policeman, a security, protesting, which is alarming, because if
the leadership structure in this country at all levels is not selfless. That's why we have this problem. So we must look for people who will come in and say, this is the sacrifice I will make.
Okay.
I will not. We should even look for people who want to live. Jakande was one. Jakande lived in his own house. Was selfless. Jakande drove his own Toyota Crown. I saw it.
Me too.
I saw Jakande in his Toyota Crown. And Jakande lived in Ilupeji all through the time he was governor. Can you imagine how much today our leaders are spending in maintaining where they live? That's not selflessness.
Okay, now we have messages from our viewers, which I'd like to take. But this one is asking the question, which I actually like. Says, my name is Smart Kelechi. My question is, how do you know the visionary leaders? How can you identify them?
You identify visionary leaders by what they have done before.
The antecedents.
What have they done before? What visions have they displayed in their past? What's the record? Okay, for good a thing, leaders, at least you have to be about 40 years before you become president. Within your 40 years, what have you done? You must, because if you have to show the light, there must be examples of the light you have shown before.
Sure.
So you identify visionary leaders by what they have done before and by what they are projecting.
Yes, sir. Before that, one issue I want to again to quickly tell our people is their role, because we are talking about servant leaders. Coming to you to ask for your vote means that they know that you are the boss. You, the voter, is the boss. They want to serve you. Last week we talked about mandate. We donating our mandate to them so as to now represent us, work for us, and of course deliver. It's akin to you getting somebody to work for you, either as manager, you the owner of the company, you want them to give you good results. The same thing here, you've given them a mandate. So sir, the question is, what is it that the people should be asking from these people? Do they see them as their leader? Does the voters seeing the politician or member, somebody who got into office, as the leader or his servant?
No, the leadership is about the people.
Yes.
So the people are the owners of the power.
Good.
They are only donating it.
Good.
A portion of it.
Good.
That's why when the leaders misbehave, it just happened in Sri Lanka.
Yes.
The people stood up, they went to the palace and drove the president away. Here is back now, but it's quiet. So the people are the bosses.
Yes.
The leaders are the servants.
Yes.
But here, the thing is turned the other way around. The leaders, the people that hold political offices have become the bosses, while the people have become the servants. So the people must realize that power belongs to them.
Good.
And they must not sell this power.
True.
Because if they sell the power, they have donated much more than their destiny to these people. Now, how do we check that? We check that by the kind of things we are doing today. Advise the people not to sell their votes. Okay. Beyond that, to be conscious. To be conscious of the policies that the politicians are promising them. The job of the politician is to make promises. But you must ask how these promises are to be fulfilled. You must interrogate the how. A man tells you he will build a bridge over land, yet he has not shown any resource that he will use. You know that that promise may not be kept. Now, we talk about the cake. Nigeria has a big cake. The cake is finished. So now, how do we bake the cake? We must produce. Nigeria today does not produce anything. I just told you in the 60s and 50s we were doing as technical as tire. Today we hardly produce the food we eat. Batteries were produced in Ikeja here. Today all the companies are dead. How do we revive these companies so that our people can get back to work? Government is to implement policies for the benefit of the people, not for the benefit of the leaders. Today government implements policies for the benefit of the politicians. And the political class, you see all of them very big, while the people look very lean. That should not be the case.
So the question is now, do you think we actually have in Nigeria learned men and women? Do you think we have those ones that can actually bring this vision that we actually require in Nigeria that will make a very good change? Do you think we have them in our country now?
We do. We do. We just have to be conscious enough to look for them. Okay. And when we are looking for them, we must not set booby traps for them. Because if you say somebody should go and get 40 million to get a form, how many Nigerians have 40 million to buy a form? You have started making it a plutocracy, government of the rich. What we practice today is plutocracy, to be candid, not democracy. Because nowhere in the definition of democracy do we have the fact that money should be so essential. It is the people that is essential. But today, plutocracy is the norm. If you are not a billionaire, as a matter of fact, if you are not a billionaire, you can't be in any serious position in Nigeria today.
In any political office.
Any serious position.
Okay. One of our viewers, this is Denko from Egbeda, says, the truth of the whole thing is that Nigeria is, says Nigeria is under a course in the area of leadership. The great Igbo literacy icon, Professor Chuna Achebe, once said in his book, the problem with Nigeria is that Nigerians are what they are because our leaders are not what they ought to be. Which is from Achebe's book. Yes, our problem is leadership. Now we have an opportunity to restructure that. And we've been talking about restructuring. It is now time for the people to restructure their thinking so that they get the right leaders for the next dispensation.
I like that.
And it's in a short while.
I like that. They restructure their thinking.
True.
Can you shed light on this issue of restructuring thinking? Let me just put you on. Some of us who visited Dubai years ago and recently will say this is what we can call the 7th or the 8th wonder of the world. Is that part of restructuring thinking you are talking about, sir?
Exactly.
So can you explain?
Dubai was a desert.
Yes, sir.
But people saw vision, made plans, and implemented plans to make a desert green. Israel is 60% a desert. In Israel, every greenery that you see is cultivated, but they are producing more food that they need. They are supplying food to the world. Here we have green all over the place. Like somebody said,
all over.
Like somebody said, even on our roofs, we have grasses growing because of how fertile the place is. But because of this lack of visionary leadership, we do not know what to do with the greenery. We cut down our greens and we put concrete. So we should just be conscious. What we need to teach our people is how to be conscious about their environment, how to be conscious about the people they recruit as their leaders. If we get leadership right, this place will be heaven, as a matter of fact.
I agree with you, sir.
True, very true.
I agree with you, sir.
Okay, to add to this, basically selfless leadership, I'm looking at the qualities here, so they must actually have put into consideration equity, equality of opportunity, fair play, and the rule of law, which is very true. Now, when it comes to selfless leadership that we have, do we actually have people, are we actually exhibiting the rule of law in Nigeria as present right now?
Well, the laws are there, but do we implement them? Do we even respect the court? That's part of the problem. The three arms of government are supposed to be interwoven, interrelated, and overlapping. And the only way they can get these things done properly is to respect each other's duties and responsibility. The government, the executive.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The executive is supposed to respect the laws as interpreted by the judiciary. The executive is also supposed to respect the laws that are promulgated by the legislature. And the legislature is supposed to work in tandem.
It's all right, sir. Time is against us, sir.
All right.
You know, time is not always our friend here.
Thank you.
So, comrade, we want to thank you for coming to this program. And we know that we'll call you next time you quickly answer us.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And next week, Dividends of Democracy is the second leg of what we are doing. Stay glued. You know, I told you, this program is the light of politics. It's the light. If you want to know more about politics and what is going on, you want to be involved, tell your people, just be our evangelist. Tell your people that one program don't come, they talk about politics and how you get it right. We are tired and we'll get it right this time around. Yes. I assure you.
Thank you so much. And of course, that is how we'll be rounding up. Thank you so much again. We'll be rounding up, but let's go over for next week and we'll be right back. Thank you so much. Bye.
On Voters Forum, we will take a look at what democracy has brought to the table of the people who vote. Democracy has brought very few gains in Nigeria, and these gains have become insignificant by negative, uncompromising, depressing, and devastating states of the nation. Our analyst will discuss the dividends of democratic rule in Nigeria, which is inequitable distributed due to corruption in governance, aside from godfatherism, ethnicity, religion, vote buying, oligarchism, but to mention a few. Join us next week on Voters Forum to learn about how to tackle those sitting corruptly on the collective wealth of the nation. It's Voters Forum. Keep updated with us.
All right, yes, welcome back. This is actually signing out. I signed out the other time, but you know, my face again, my pretty face, I must say. All right, that will be all for today, and let's round up. Barrister.
Yes, that's the show for today. I'm Wale Ogwade. It has been a wonderful time, and Blossom too. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I did, and I learned a whole lot.
You learned a lot.
Yes.
Like Blossom too. Next week, just don't miss it. 12 to 1 next Saturday. We are here for you. You to be there for us. Thank you. Have a great week ahead.
Do you know that success is not earned in the future? It is earned now. So you need to be involved in something that you have comparative advantage on. Such thing must be legal and genuine. You don't have any other country except Nigeria